The Russian military fired on the Zelenodolsk community 7 times a day, said Valentyn Reznichenko, the head of the Dnipropetrovsk regional military administration. The last shelling took place this morning. Velika Kostromka and Mala Kostromka were hit by Uragan multiple rocket launchers. Several houses were damaged. No one was injured. The head of the regional military administration, Serhiy Haidai, said that last night the Russian army was continuing its attempts to completely capture Rubizhne. They wanted to advance deep into Rubizhne, tried to advance on the territory controlled by the Ukrainian army, but suffered losses and retreated to previously occupied positions. Haidai's Telegram channel said. He also added that as a result of the shelling of the region, 2 schools and 35 houses were destroyed. Only 2 hospitals continue to operate in Luhansk region. One of them is in Zelenodolsk. Despite the recent shelling and significant destruction, the facility continues to receive patients, says the head of the regional military administration. We restored here what we could, but you see that they are firing at doctors, hospitals, and wounded. Leaders of the region also said that the Russian military fired on a school in Zelenodolsk last night, where a fire broke out. The head of the military and civil administration added that the situation in the city is becoming more complicated. The city is in a very difficult situation. As most of the housing facilities have been destroyed, people are actually living in basements. The shelling, which does not stop, sometimes doesn't allow even humanitarian aid to be delivered around the city. The Ukrainian military blew up a railway bridge across the Siversky Donets between the towns of Liman and Raihorodok. The information was confirmed by the press service of the Joint Forces operations. The bridge was blown up along with the Russian army freight cars. Now the railway connection with Liman, which is at the epicenter of the fighting in Donbass, is impossible. From the first days of the war, the Russian military bombed Mariupol's life support facilities, creating a humanitarian crisis in the city. Hundreds of civilians who have been living in the Azovstal bomb shelters for about 2 months are under constant fire without food, water, medicine, heat, or communication. When the local population of Mariupol leaves the city, which has lack of food, drinking water, and other things they have in their daily lives, they say about the city of Mariupol, it's hell. Therefore, when we imagine this fortress, the Azovstal, there are even worse conditions because there is almost no food, almost no water, almost no medicine, and if there's hell, that place is even worse. And they have been for more than 60 days in these conditions already. They are begging for salvation. That is why today we're also begging the international community everywhere to come together to save the lives of the local population. After the collapse of the military hospital in Azovstal, the commander of the 36th Marine Brigade, Serhiy Volina, said that the situation in the bunkers was even worse than just a humanitarian catastrophe. It has not yet been possible to evacuate civilians from the city due to the constant shelling of humanitarian corridors by the Russian military. In total, in the territory of Kyiv region, which was occupied by the Russian military in March, law enforcement officers found mass graves of about 900 civilians. President Volodymyr Zelensky said this in an interview with Polish media, emphasizing that all those involved in the killings will be punished. We will insist on an international tribunal. We will insist on all these processes. There will be conclusions, there will be people arrested, there will be sentences. Yes, it is a matter of time. There are other things when international institutions are really slow and sometimes you can't find a person. I mean, you can't be prosecuted for a lack of evidence. Although there are witnesses, although everyone saw it, but still, they sweep up the traces. As an example, mobile crematoria, which the Russians brought and burned people there. Yes, in such cases it is difficult to investigate, but still, it is searched for and found. Imagine there were so many people killed that despite the fact that they burned some, the grave again has been found. A total of 900 people were buried. Well, no one knows how many people died. More than 600 residents were evacuated from the village of Ruska Lozova, which was liberated from the occupiers by the armed forces of Ukraine last night. They spent 2 months in cellars and basements. Such a hell. I'm not that old, but I never thought that at the age of 63 I would live through such a fear. Not only for myself, but for everyone around. People were shaking. just shaking.
Это люди тряслись, просто тряслись. Я когда увидела наших украинских ребят.
When I saw our soldiers, to be honest, I'm so grateful that for the rest of my life I will pray to God that they will be all alive and well and liberate us from these evil spirits. You can't call them in a different way. These are really fascists.
Это действительно фашисты.
According to the evacuated residents, the Russian military was standing in the center of the village, searching houses, apartments, and confiscating weapons. Locals also spoke about the consequences of the Russian military's stay in Ruska-Lozova. Houses are burning, slate is flying. In our garden, we had 14 such pits from fragments or something else. I don't know. As soon as it fell on the cellar started shaking. I thought I was going to die. Valechka, don't cry. Thank God that we are being sent away from the border, and may Kharkiv stay untouched. We'll live here for a while. Valia, everything will be rebuilt. Everything will be fine. Alexander Voroshkov was evacuated from Kramatorsk to Cherkasy 3 weeks ago. Together with his family, the man managed to take out 11 cats. Volunteers helped to get out of the shelling. The first checkpoint on the way out of Kramatorsk was the most difficult. There was a conversation where the guys say, "We brought humanitarian aid here, and we evacuate people with cats back." One says, "Well, open the back door of the bus." He opens, and all the cats at once start mewing. My goodness, so I thank the guys for being patient with all that mewing for hours. Lola, Bagheera, Simba, Pusa, and 7 other cats have already become members of the family, so they could not leave them in Kramatorsk, said Alexander. We let them out in the yard to eat some grass, and it's useful for them. Some vitamins and the sun. It's a little unusual for them. It's a kind of stress.